Hello, John.
Well,
So Donald Trump was inaugurated on Monday. He's the 47th president of the United States, and he has announced there will be only two genders in America. That's what he's after saying.
male and female be
Yes.
created. That was a great observation that he made, and it was a gift. And I noticed, I looked at the whole inauguration, etc. And I looked at some episodes before during his, when he was speaking at Mar-a-Lago there in where he has a residence. And so I heard his views and the people he's nominated for positions. And he's kind of has everything kind of organised. And there was a great there was a great crowd at the on inauguration and all the rest of it. And he made a great speech, I thought, very uplifting. And I noticed that Cardinal Timothy Dolan of New York, St. Patrick's Cathedral, uh, gave the opening blessing to the for President uh, Donald John Trump. He called himself that, but other people refer to him as Donald J. Trump, but it's Donald John Trump. I think I mentioned that in previous videos that we did about him because we were hoping that he would be successful, and he was pretty successful all round. But all the former presidents were there, which was good. And it was a very uplifting occasion that President Trump spoke pretty truthfully, I thought. And he doesn't want this unity and this insulting others that occurred during the previous administration. And they did try to nearly destroy President Trump, but he didn't succeed. And then two assassination attempts on him, one that was very close, only he turned his head. His ear was damaged, and God looked after him, and I think he knows that. And we did mention, and I did mention that I thought he would become a Catholic. I'm not surprised he had Cardinal Timothy Dolan, the first one to give good wishes and blessing and all the rest of it. And Cardinal Timothy was very good, second or third generation Irish, and proud of it. And his new administrator at the border, Mr. Holman. He's a Catholic and a staunch Catholic as well. So he's a lot of Catholics in the government, believe it or not,
I
in his
think
in administration.
I think it's amazing when you see the power of a president. What he's done now, he's signed 78 Biden era directives. He's rescinded them basically. But he's pardoned 1,500 Capitol writers. I think they call them writers. I'm not sure if they were writers, but anyway. Um, and he's withdrawn from the Paris Climate Accord, and he sent
Right.
troops to the border in Mexico. So he's done quite a lot in just a short time.
Right, and he will too, because it needs to be done. And I think he mentioned the word, and I totally agree with it, common sense. I mean, there's no point in having an agenda that's about the voice of nature and inflicting what I call confusion on people.
Yeah.
The gender business is an absolute disgrace. And the schools and teaching rubbish about that sort of important area. Whatever way you're born, if you're born a boy, that's what you are. If you're born a girl, that's what you are. And I think one thing that I will say that it must give Enoch Buck and his family great joy to think that President Trump, the president of America, the land of the free, has come out with this great view that they created male and female. God, he created them, and he mentioned God a couple of times. So that's the way to go. To have that view head in front of you. So everything that he come out with was very uplifting, I thought. And the fact that he has mentioned this business of male and female. He's not going to allow this business of all this gender nonsense to be inflicted on the army and all the rest of it. So he's done away with all that, and schools will have to smarten themselves up and teach facts, not rubbish like gender business and confusing people. I don't know what the agenda, but I think there's a lesson here for our government here to wake up from the nightmare that they're sort of inflicted on people with their abortion and all the rest of it and the gender nonsense and so on and so forth. So it's a great, he's given a great example. And I think he'll, as long as he's protected, because there's forces of evil out there, so there is, and that he'll be protected and be able to do what he sets out to do. And he is a great vice president in J.D. Vance, a practicing Catholic. I noticed he blessed himself on one occasion, and I like to see that, the sign of the cross. And his wife is, I think, a staunch Catholic, and she's from of Asian extraction, but very nice, and she was smiling very nicely. So I think there was a great uplift there, and there was good
Now,
clapping and all, and
I
cheers.
I noticed there you mentioned his wife, and there's something I want to say about his wife, and it is that she's wearing an absolutely lovely hat on her head. Now, she's known for her hats, right? But what I was wondering was that looks like a very heavy hat on her head, and I'm wondering, is it bulletproof, John Malone?
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, you're probably right. But now, to be honest with you, I didn't recognize her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Her
As
the head covers
I
her
thought,
eyes and everything.
I thought she was dressed in such a way as I didn't know who she was.
Yeah.
And it was only when President Trump gave her a hug or whatever it was when he came out. I think, I think that rig out was not one that I would recommend
Well,
for President Trump's wife.
I would say that entire rig out, think of it this way. She's a woman, she has children, or she one child, is it? Barron. And the thing about it is to stand beside a president who was almost assassinated takes courage. Okay?
It does.
So I would say that the entire rig out, including the hat, was bulletproof.
I think you're quite right. That's a good observation, and you're probably right because it was a very unusual rig out.
Yeah.
That she's normally a very attractive person, and I noticed her her father was present, and he had a good place there beside Barden. I wouldn't be too keen on the name Barden, but that's probably me. I like a Christian name, quite frankly, and Donald John Trump has that great asset in his name, Donald John. And so I know the time that Frank Patterson and BB Baskin was interviewing from RTE, President Trump's mother. She was from Scotland, but she loved Frank Patterson and that kind of quality of singing. And it was a very humorous affair. But she referred to Donnelly, said he's over with Steinberg and something. And she was, what's the word? That Donald had great ability in some ways. And I saw him when he was younger, much younger, interviewed by Larry King, who was a very well known interviewer with CNN. And he was so observant about the state of the country at the time, going back to this is the 1990s or something. And he was very good. And Larry King says to him, what party? And then the Republican. And he said, you'd be a great candidate for the presidency when he said, if not interested at this time. So, like, he had the ability even then, in my book. So, these are the little episodes that when you follow some, when you're able to get in this information through the internet, it's marvelous. It gives you a bit of a perspective on the man where he was coming from. He's often he's often pilloried by others because they haven't got that ability. And that's the way to
Well,
do is attack.
I think it will be an interesting 4 years, and I think that all these things about there's a lot of scaremongering that Irish companies are going to leave, all that nonsense. I don't think anything like that's going to happen. I think everything will be fine.
Well, you see, this crowd here that we're saddled with in the media, they are doomsayers, and they don't do the job that they're supposed to do, is to cast a critical eye. This was the island of saints and scholars. We had a good Catholic tradition, and they have tried to trounce it. And they want to wake up and repent, quite frankly. And I think President Trump, by saying God created male and female, they want to wake up here and realise that that's the way it is and stop yapping about genders. They're trying to destroy the young people, and they want to change their education policy here. They're interfering with their innocence by making out that there could be something other than what they are. Do you get me drift?
I do get your
You can't
drift,
do things
yes.
like that. And President Trump has given a great example. And there's other ones in the world. The two countries in my book that's going to be very happy is Poland and Hungary, because they support life and families, and they give incentives to families to have children in Hungary, and they are, because they never had a one child policy like other countries. They have encouraged and given incentives and tax advantages and even homes, and they want to do that here too. And stop their old codology and trying to confuse people as if they're doing something and they're not doing anything.
John Malone, I think that your man is in now, and that's it. And John Malone's going to be happy for the next 4 years.
And I'd be as happy as Larry, and happy as Larry, And I think all going well, he'll do well. Don't mind some of the media in this country; they wouldn't know good news if it hit them in the face. But the Christian TV Ireland, we certainly will promote what's good, and we regard what President Trump said about God. He created them male and female. That is one of the greatest examples of his inauguration, that he brought that out. And Carol and Timothy Donald being the chief celebrant, he gave the first blessing and prayers. So that's a good omen. And our bishops and our political elite, it want to wake up from whatever slumber they're suffering from, or whatever sort of upstairs delusions, and do something like what President Trump stands for.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you very much, Alma. Cheery boy.